What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to The Art of War. We have an exciting video for you today as we are going to discuss our adventure from the Challengers Cup, where the Art of War team was sent across into the West Coast to try and win some games.
Absolutely. We just had a great time. If you missed it, the Challengers Cup is the largest team event that I've personally ever seen. I'll stand by for someone to point out that I think Spain has a very large team tournament. I couldn't compare the figures, but this is the largest team tournament I've ever seen in the United States. This is the largest one I've ever personally attended, and it was an extremely fun time.
Absolutely. We got to see members from all over, not only just the U.S., but also around the world, including Team Australia. So people from very, very distant places came over to have a great time with a group of 8 friends.
Absolutely. I think there were even some people from distant Canada.
Yep.
Just a couple.
There was. So it was a really great time. Now, it was the same weekend as LGT, so we didn't have as many UK teams as normal, but it was still an amazingly exciting event. And so we're going to break down what happened, like what team we took, why we took some of the armies that we did, and then we're going to go through our different pairings and kind of talk about the process and what worked, what didn't, and kind of give you a summary because it was all very exciting for us.
Absolutely. If you enjoy this kind of content, well, show us by liking the content. Leave a comment. Let us know what you think about the new meta and how it's going to impact both teams and singles, as well subscribe to the channel. That actually gets you notified every time we go live with one of the free content pieces that we put up every week. We always like to throw a couple in. And, it's an exciting time for Warhammer.
So exciting.
I know, right? I mean,
this is amazing. This is the best time to play Warhammer right now.
Honestly, yeah, it really feels now that we're getting basically all the codexes out, it feels like the meta is actually in a really healthy spot. It feels like there's diversity in a team's roster. There's diversity in what's winning in singles right now. And of course, if you want to hear more of our thoughts on that and the meta as a whole, make sure you check out The War Room. That's the link in the description below, thewarroom.vhx.tv. And that's where we put up 2 additional coaching matches a week, total of 3. And as well as our post-game analysis, our master classes. There's a lot going on. And of course, it'll even get you access to the Art of War Discord.
And the hot thing releasing today is John's Raven Guard Space Marines up against Nick's Aldari. 2 top-tier armies going head-to-head.
That is true.
It's a 3-hour and 15-minute game of exciting back-and-forth action, and there was a lot of action in that one.
There's a lot of action in that one.
Great one to check out.
If you watched our tier list last week,
you
might notice that we thought Space Marines and Aldari were the best 2 armies in the game. And so obviously,
head-to-head, baby.
Got to go head-to-head on that one.
All right. So without further ado, let's go ahead. If you are going to super chat us, that is one other thing. If you are going to super chat, we're going to kind of go through the event itself, and then at the end, we'll answer any questions you have via the super chats. So don't worry, if we don't mention it early on, we will get to all of them at the end.
Absolutely.
Boom. Okay, so starting off, Art of War team, we've got Nick as the captain. We got 8 players, 8 versus 8. And starting off, we have Ben Jurek playing Chaos Knights. Now, Chaos Knights did receive some nerfs in August, and then they received a couple more with the September balanced data slate. And with Challengers Cup, it was right on the cusp where is the balanced data slate, which Games Workshop released to the surprise of everybody a little bit early. Is that going to be actually available and in play in Challengers Cup? And so the captains voted to do so. And so we grabbed all those rules. So there's only about like a week and a half or so to prepare for all the teams. And for us...
Yeah, even less to submit lists.
Yeah, even less to submit lists. So for Chaos Knights, this is what Ben had been practicing. Did we think it was like the most optimal 8-man team? Maybe, maybe not. But really, we needed a defender. There's some lighter boards early on in a teams format. So there's light to heavy. And so we're like, all right, he's experienced with the Chaos Knights. We're going to grab this. And so let's open up his list right here. And we'll see that he ran the triple despoiler into the Infernal Lance. Gotta run lots of Gatling cannons.
This is just the iconic build of Chaos Knights right now. That triple Gatling despoiler is very much the thing. It's kind of holding up the faction at the moment. It is really strong, of course. And so we're going to back up the triple despoilers with a couple of War Dog Carnivores. That's 2, as well as 2 Stalkers. Get a little scout action in there. And then you just kind of close the list out with a couple demons. We've got a unit of Nurglings and the big man on campus, Rodigus himself. Rodigus just kind of provides you a budget big knight. Gets you to that critical mass of 4 very large models on the table, but actually leaves you enough points to still get some screening trash and some armatures.
Absolutely. So strong army there from Ben. It was definitely going to be one of our early defenders on terrain, trying to grab a board where it's favored or can kind of keep a difficult matchup close.
Yep.
Then we had Mr. Brian Jones on Leagues of Votann. Now, Brian had the tough decision in that Imperial Knights had just released a codex, but the codex itself was going to be available at Challengers Cup to be played, but it just received several nerfs from the data slate, especially to Valor Strike, and so to really find a list that was, top tier competitive, didn't quite have the time for that.
Yeah, and this is really one where the change in the schedule, I think, really got us because Brian had very much been practicing with the index because he thought we weren't going to have the codex for the event. And once we realized, you will have the codex, and Brian's like, I don't know, I kind of got a busy week at work this week. I'm like, how many games do you think you can get? 1? All right, maybe not 1 game.
Yeah. So, the thing about Imperial Knights is right now, they're kind of floating in the meta. We don't really know where they're going to end up. Nobody has really come up with a build that this is going to be, these couple builds for Imperial Knights. This is what they are.
Yeah.
So that requires a lot of experimentation, a lot of games. And I've been playing a ton of Votann, and I was like, all right, well, you like Votann. He's played Votann at a team event for us last year. Why don't we bring Votann? It's a stable army, and it has a lot of really strong tools, and I've kind of been playing a lot of it and doing some coaching on it. So instead of playing my Brandfast build, which I think is tailored for a little bit of a different role, we went with Need Guard, just kind of standard, just good stuff Need Guard. So we had the call here with the Oathbound Speculator. That's going to go in 10 Hearthguard, so they're going to get the +1 to wound if you spend yield points, and they get reroll 1s to wound. So that unit can get +2, rerolling 1s to hit, hitting on 2s, rerolling 1s to wound with +1 to wound. It's one of the highest damage units out there, and it's a really good anti-horde type of unit. Because we had been talking about Votann as well before the changes, one of the big scary armies was Host of Ascension GSC. That got killed by the data slate, but there are plenty of other horde armies that can prosper in teams, and this was going to be one of the units that could go into those builds and be like, no, you're just dead. It doesn't matter. So Memnir Strategist to swing around with the yield points. Uthar, of course, free stratting all the really good strats there. Some warriors. Double Capricus Carrier, that's going to split up 2 Pioneers or 2 Jaeger squads. Then 3 units of Thunderkin, the big 6-man conversion unit for that +2 nasty damage. The 2 Hecaton Land Forts, 1 unit of Pioneers and those Jaegers, and then finally 1 unit of Steeljacks with melee weapons. They can go up to AP4 in combat in this detachment and really rip through stuff with a lot of attacks. So good. This is going to be another defender type list, a blunter type list, in our opinion, one that could go into a horde meta and succeed.
And after that, we've got our world leaders.
We got Mr. Jack Harpster. So he's been, of course, loving World Eaters since the book came out. And then him and Brian Dougherty have been playing a very similar kind of archetype.
I think they even played identical lists at Challengers Cup.
There were several lists exactly the same. I believe Florida Alliance also had one.
And I think Jack even went on to Brian's channel, The Red Path, a little bit to talk about World Eaters. So for sure, while we do have a lot of World Eaters content,
just released the Save the Faction yesterday, John.
We do. But of course, you should also check out The Red Path.
100%. Demon Prince of Khorne with the -1 damage enhancement. Karn, who's going to go with 10 Berserkers. Double Slaughterbound here, one with the hit hard in combat, and the other to manipulate their army rule. Then 1 Rhino for that Karn package. 2 spawn units for skirmish. 2 8-bound units to help make sure your infantry hit quite hard, and good trade piece. Exalted 8-bound. Absolutely obliterate vehicles and monsters right now.
They got buffed.
They got huge buffs. Huge buffs. Knights no longer a problem for World Eaters. Double Forge Fiend for that shooting, and then 2 units of Jackals for that trash. So very standard for what Jack has been liking, but a very good list overall. Then we had Mr. John Lennon here. You got a little point increase to your Emperor's Children, which made a really awkward, what the heck do I change?
I was waffling on this one a lot, and honestly, this is probably something I'll be talking about in some future content. I don't think that I landed on the final version with this one, but I kind of made myself test some Flawless Blades. So we've got double Demon Princes, 1 with Mortal Pain, 1 with Unholy Fortune, double Lord Exultant, a Cacophonist, Lucius the Eternal, 2 Infractor Squads to escort my lords around, 2 Tormentor Squads, just great objective holders and mission play, 2 Rhinos, a squad of Flawless Blades, 1 Mauler Fiend, and triple Noise Marine. Finishing it out. Very similar to what I'd played at WTC this year. Basically just dropped a Mauler Fiend for some Flawless Blades.
You love Flawless Blades.
I absolutely, they're beautiful models. And so I was really excited to just get the Emperor's Children back on the table because it's an army that I was so comfortable with that I enjoy so much.
Absolutely. So John and Jack here, two like fast melee armies ready to beat people to death. They were kind of, earmarked as two of our big scorers.
Yeah, we're definitely looking at those armies as things that can attack certain matchups or can wait around until the end of the pairings, kind of that scrum, and just sit there and say, hey, we've taken all the light tables, so I don't really care where I go anymore.
Now, Mr. Michael Mann, he's been on quite a journey. Space Wolves was the thing he was doing for a bit, and then he was like, oh, well, Orcs, I found this really cool anti-Eldari tech army, which was Speed Freaks. So he bought all the buggies, started painting them all up. Balanced Data Slate comes out. He's like, Eldar's still good, but Orcs have all these new play styles. Like Gaz is a beast with his 20 boys, and then all these other changes.
And so they nerf Space Wolves.
And they nerf Space Wolves. So he's like, all right, Orcs for sure, but do I go the Speed Freaks route that I just painted? Do I go for some Bully Boys? Do I go for, the War Horde? And so he ended up going for War Horde because that's the thing he had the most practice with before the event. And so he has two beast bosses here, a big mech with Follow Me Lads. This is Warhorde, of course, boss Snickrot. Then Gaz, who's hugely upgraded in the balanced data slate. Two bosses. Then two Beast Nagaboy units, a 20-man boys unit for Mr. Gaz. 4 trucks, the cheap flash git unit, some Gretchen. Commandos, the really important, the ability to split them and have 2 infiltrate units, really massive for Orcs, as well as the loss of Challenger cards. They hated those. 2 units of Knobs, some Storm Boys here, and that kind of rounds out the list. So trash package, couple damage hitters, and then a lot of volume of attacks for this Orc list. And he's really trying to go on some of the denser WTC boards that there were 3 on each set of 8 tables. Orcs really prosper in that type of format.
Yeah, I really liked just seeing Orcs back on the team. I know Michael was super excited just to get the changes to Gaz. He's been ranting and raving about how good that Gaz cool
He really is good.
And boys unit is now. That's an option.
It's so many tags, John.
I know.
With lethal sustained crit 5s. It's nasty. Mike Muzeni coming in with the Death Guard. He had been playing a lot of Thousand Sons, but unfortunately for him, T-Sun's probably the biggest faction to go from hero to less than hero in the last balanced status slate. So he was
harsh.
He was like, all right, what else can I play? Well, he plays Death Guard. He's been playing a decent amount of Death Guard. All right, Death Guard's one of the easier armies to play. Let's get in there, Mike. And so he plays Virulent Vectorium, just a nice all-around list. That -1 damage can be a really crucial breakpoint against a lot of armies. He's got the crazy Demon Prince here, the T12 5 of Pain, double Lord of Contagion, 1 Lord of Virulence to help that shooting out, and then a Tallyman for some CP. 3 units of 3 Death Shrouds, 1 regular Fetid Blowtrone, 3 of the shooty ones, 3 Mephitic Blight Haulers, so it's got that MSU shooting package, and then the 2 Poxwalker units. Once again, Mike here with Death Guard. It's a great blunter army, can kind of keep matchups close, and if your opponents make mistakes, the Death Shrouds get in where they shouldn't, it's going to open up a big win.
Yep, and you still fit 7 buggies in?
Yeah, it's kind of insane.
9 Death Shrouds? It's like, oh wow, it's actually quite a few. Not to mention, that's a lot.
It's a lot. It is a lot. Mr. Nick Not a Body playing his Eldari. He is not playing Warhost, though. He's been experimenting with Aspect Host and wanted to put this on the table. He's been playing a lot of Phoenix Lords, and Aspect Host definitely rewards that style. So he brings in Azurman, got some points decreases there, and a free Fire and Fade. Then Fuegan with his dragons, Janezar with her banshees, Lycus with her warp spiders, and Moggan Ra, his favorite tech piece that he brought to WTC, is with the Dark Reapers. So 1 unit, 1 serpent for Fuegan and his dragons, and then 5 Reapers, 5 Reapers, 5 Reapers, all with Tempest launchers, a little bit of indirect tech, or indirect tech. Dire Avenger unit for Azurman, 10 Fire Dragons, 5 Banshees, bunch of Ranger squads. The Corsairs unfortunately had to be cut down to Rangers to make points. Shining Spears, yes, he did run a Shining Spear unit and said it was one of his best units at the event. So if you're an Eldari player and pooping on Shining Spears, they
got cheaper. This list used to be more than 2,000 points, but thank goodness.
Thank God we had to
stepped in.
We had to buff Eldar. Only 1 unit of Hawks. That's definitely one of the downsides here because they're such a good unit, but 3 units of Spiders. Nick is one of those wily guys who can kind of go into any matchup here and just either keep a game close or find a way to open up a big win with an army as strong as Eldari.
He's one of the best players in the team and making sure that no matter the odds, he is scoring points.
Yep.
He calls it wiggling. I call it consistency. He's good at it, though.
All right. So last is myself playing Adeptus Mechanicus. Now I was thinking about playing Brandfast.
Saving your favorite army to last.
Yeah, saving the last one here. So I was on Votan Brandfast. That was what I was prepping for with the Codex release and before the Balanced Data Slate. But as soon as the Balanced Data Slate came out and Belisarius Call became a champion of people, he was going in my list, and I was playing Admech. So Mr. Belisarius Call, of course, here. And then I have Battlesphere Uplink Marshal for that Fire and Fade. I got a Ranger unit for sticky objectives, a Vanguard unit for some OC manipulation, and to go with a BSU. Then I had 5 Iron Striders with the las cannons, majorly upgraded with that twin linked. Then I had 10-10, 5 Skystalkers for that Fire and Fade, 10 Infiltrators, and then 5-5 for some early board presence. I had 5 Ruststalkers, a little bit of a precision squad, and then 3 Scorpius Disintegrators. I had a lot of firepower, insane firepower, honestly. If anybody stood out there, they were going to get absolutely eviscerated. And I was somebody who can kind of go into any matchup because I have the screens to kind of delay people. But if I get on an open board against armies that don't want to be on there, like a combat army, I'm just going to shoot them straight to hell.
I mean, screens and guns is a powerful combo.
It is a very powerful combo. So overall, that was our comp that we decided to take. You can see how the influence of including the Balanced Data Slate also impacted our team in a very significant way with a lot of faction choices and list design choices. So now we head on into the event here. Thank you so much, everybody, for those super chats. We are going to get to them once we finish this talk about kind of the event itself.
Absolutely.
Round 1, we play against the stream team. Lovely gentlemen from Barely Battle Ready. If you want to check out the stream, we played several games on stream. It is on Twitch, Barely Battle Ready. You can check out, they streamed every single day of the Challengers Cup event.
Yep.
And for round 1, John was on stream, and for round 2, I was on stream.
Ooh, very nice.
Yep, so let's get into this bad boy. So the pairings here, we kind of went with our main type of strategy, which was going to put those Chaos Knights down first, see what they give us, and go from there. The matchups we ended up getting were Aldari into Chaos Knights, one of the matchups that Nick had to prep a lot for WTC for Team USA, and so we were very
feeling good about it.
Yeah, Fire Dragons and Way can do some nasty things to Knights. Then we had Jack. Previously, Big Demons was not the easiest matchup for World Eaters because punching up into those big targets was a little bit tricky.
Yeah.
But with Exalted 8-Bound completely changing the dynamic, we felt very confident to be able to put him into the Chaos Demons and try and get a win there. Ben Jurek went into the World Eaters. That was the thing we took off the table because we figured, hey, World Eaters on a lighter table and World Eaters kind of not being left for a WTC board later on seems like a good choice for us. Unfortunately for Ben, he did not have the screens to actually deal with multiple Exalted 8-Bound units. I believe the opponent here, Preston, had 3 of them. And what happened was Ben put out his Knights. Preston traded against those kind of cheap War Dog Knights. And then all the Exalted 8-Bound were in reserve, or most of them, and they rapided down, and then they hit Big Knights. And
every time.
When they hit Big Knights, you get kind of wrecked. So Ben found out there, and we were definitely a lot more careful in future rounds with Ben and potential Exalted 8-Bound. Then Brian played against some Death Guard here. I think that's a pretty consistent win for Votan. Votan do a lot of damage to Death Guard, a lot of flat 3 damage as well.
Yeah, it's going to be a theme later, too.
It is going to be a theme later. I went into Aldari. My lovely opponent, Michael, gave me a bunch of Adeptus Mechanicus dice because I had started losing them, and I was like, hey, I'm only down to 24 dice. I know it's a weird number, but I'm usually I roll like batches of like 28 or something, depending on what the bird units are shooting. And he was like, hey, I have those dice. I have those exact dice for you back from 8th edition AdMech. I'm happy to give them to you. And so he gave me a huge bag of AdMech dice.
Now you can roll it all at once.
Unfortunately for Michael, he was put into probably one of the most difficult matchups that he could have been, which is Bird Spam AdMech. And I did lock up his Fuegan and Fire Dragon unit in his Wave Serpent for the entire game. Turn after turn, and they never touched the board, and that meant it was very difficult for him to get out of his side. But he took it like a champ and was a lovely gentleman to play against. Then Michael Mann went into Space Wolves here,
his own Space Wolves,
and just went straight in there and did a lot of nasty damage. Was able to tie up his army. Mike's Death Guard went to Leagues of Votan. If you can see up here, Brian went into Death Guard and got 17-3. Mike found out he had not played against New Votan before, and I had given him some tips and tricks before the round, and he was like, no, No.
Never again.
Please don't. Please don't. The conversion units, the hard
Votan is apparently really good into Death Guard.
There really is. It's a lot of damage. The ability to ignore hit mods really helps the Landford's consistency, but those conversion weapons and Hearthguard do nasty, nasty things into Death Guard.
Yep.
And then Mr. Lennon here, you played on stream against their player Chuck Burns, who was playing Adeptus Custodes.
I did indeed. That is historically a matchup that I quite enjoy with Emperor's Children, and so it's fun to get to play it again. But sure enough, Emperor's Children prosper, and you actually cannot make an infantry model so tough that I can't kill it.
No, you cannot.
Can't do that. That's not a thing. T11, no chance. Wardens, don't care.
Nope. I don't care about your feel no pain. I'll put enough damage
We
on
will
you.
get through that.
So that was round 1. We have 2 rounds per day. So heading on into round 2, we are going to have, we played Resurrection also on the Barely Battle Ready stream. So you can check that out on Twitch. And for our pairings here, we had Nick go into their Space Marine player. Now, Space Marines are an army that Nick believes is the strongest army in the game, the most broken army in the game.
Yep.
So we for sure had to put him into it. And he ended up squeaking out a small win here with an 11-9. John, you went into Nick Hodson and his
Creations Bile.
Creations of Bile. And you had some prep for this in Crucible. You played against Creations of Bile with your, not your EC, your Raven Guard.
Raven Guard. I played into Creations of Bile. I've done it at practice.
Streamhouse
I've done it
RTT
in
finals.
Streamhouse RTT. I did it at WTC. I did it at DreamHack. Every time I take Emperor's Children to a tournament, I find a way to play against Creations of Bile. And I got to tell you, the board looks the same at the end.
3 wound Marines. John's like, I'm ripping them up.
Yeah, just 3 wound Space Marines sitting in front of my army. I'm like, wow, they're not even in a Rhino. No, they're on foot. It's just 3 wound Marines on foot in front of my army.
Here John goes killing again.
They don't even fall back in charge. Charge them with a Demon Prince. You kill half the unit, and then they stay there. It's great.
Then we had Mr. Michael Mann with his Orcs into Grey Knights, a matchup we thought was certainly on the tougher side. Grey Knights have insane amounts of volume. Purifiers are really nasty into their units.
And
but
2-up saves also just clog Orcs up, kind
a
of.
lot of 2-up saves. In addition, it was the one thing that was going for us is that this was search and destroy as the layout, which helps Orcs tremendously. The pressure they can put on early. Grey Knights want to kind of back off their opponent, pick away at the angles, and then unleash a lot of damage in a single turn. For sure. And Michael was able to use his cheaper trade resources to play out a longer game and end up getting that 12-8. Then we had Brian play into Aldari here and get a 10-10 draw. Kind of coached him up a bit on what to do to keep a game defensive. But basically, just sit on his expansion, sit on his home objective, and just say, Fire Dragons, I don't care how many you have on your side of the board. I'm just going to sit here and score points. Yep. And was able to get a nice draw there against one of those stronger armies in the game. Then World Eaters, Jack went into the World Eaters mirror matchup, and he said it was a crazy game because the lists were relatively similar, but was able to end up taking that 18-2 with some combat trickery and some fight phase stuff. Then Death Guard on Death Guard, so double mirror matchups. Mike also being able to take out his Death Guard opponent there. Chaos Knights took down Orcs. That was one of our first defenders again. And then I took down GSC on stream, on that Twitch stream. And I played against Xenocreed Congregation. Unfortunately for my opponent, I screened with Infiltrators. And Infiltrators are amazing at battle shocking people. So his Metamorphs would charge in to try and get on my expansion objective. They would get battle shocked by the Infiltrators. And then my unit behind the ruin on the objective would hold the objective for me. And that happened twice in a row. I did have to fight against 6 Metamorph units, though. Because they get 12 Resurgence points, which is enough for 3 Metamorph units.
They just keep coming back.
But I did literally drive my tanks straight up, and I was like, are you going to kill my 2-up save tanks here, sir?
It takes a while.
It did take a long time. But that's a fun game on stream if you want to check it out. Okay, next round. So this is going into day 2. Round 3, we're starting to hit the... this is when it switched from random wind path pairings to now Swiss pairings. So top number 1 plays number 2, number 3 plays number 4. And so we ended up playing XPZ Purple Cobras. This was one of the best teams from Challenger Cup last year. Obviously, they had some player changes from the last team, but it's a very good team, one of the best teams on the West Coast. So going into this round, we knew it was going to be a tough one, and so... Starting off, we had Mike Muzeni go into the Black Templars here. Black Templars Gladius being an extremely strong archetype. Yeah. And the thing for Mike that ended up swinging it against him was he was not prepared to deal with the Blood Surge on the Crusader brick, is what he said. He said that made the matchup significantly more difficult than he thought it would be, and ended up getting taken down here by Jeff.
Still, this is a case where I think they first defended with these Templars.
They did.
And so we're not trying
choice.
Templar's board choice. We're not trying to send something in and promise that it's going to destroy it. Instead, we're thinking, how do we get out of this game with solid points and then make it up for later, which, the next matchup.
Exactly. So we got your Emperor's Children against the Necrons, and that was a matchup you were definitely looking for. You have felt very good into Necrons throughout the edition. A lot of precision everywhere, so you don't care as much about their bricks because you're so fast you can get to see those characters. How'd that one go?
This is Star Shatter Double Wraiths, and I've really found that
it's a good build.
It's a good build. But Wraiths fall into that Custodes category of you can't make an infantry unit so tough that I can't kill it. And I know what you're saying. They're beasts. But they're also infantry because there's a Technomancer in there.
Or Crypto Thralls.
Yeah, or Crypto Thralls. But there's always the Technomancer. And until there isn't,
Yes.
And just the amount of precision I have, the speed that I have, it very quickly turned into me staging up and just threatening to run at them. And then as soon as I saw the opportunity, you send the entire army, you touch everything in their army. Star Shatter doesn't fall back and shoot, doesn't fall back and charge. It just is in combat.
Ooh,
yeah. I usually win that game.
Now, heading on to Mr. Jack Harpster, he was put into Death Guard, and this is not a normal Death Guard list, okay?
No.
This was Taliban Summoners, and you might say, what is that? Is that a thing? That is the Nurgle Demon detachment in the Death Guard Codex. So there was Rodigus and I believe 3 Great Unclean Ones alongside...
Well, you can only take 1,000 points.
Okay, so
they're 250 each.
Yes. So you can exactly fit that nonsense. So Logan was playing very much a stat check style of Death Guard with those Great Unclean Ones. And fortunately for Jack, the balanced data slate was in effect, and he had Exalted 8-bound.
Yep.
Which are quite good into Great Unclean Ones.
Day 1, game 1, we put Jack into the big demons, and he was able to kill them. And day 2, game 1, we put him into big demons, and he was able to kill them.
Yeah, he did. And then for my pairing, I got a pretty tough one here. So Arthur is one of their better players, and he was playing World Eaters. He was playing 70 Berserkers.
There's a lot.
That is a lot of Blood Surge. That's a lot of nonsense going on. And we played on his board choice, which was Games Workshop Layout 8, which is the densest Games Workshop board. It's not Layout 7 anymore. So I was like, all right. Other people have easier pairings. I just need to keep this game close and not take any risks and not do anything crazy. So I started off by putting my Infiltrators, my 2 5-mans, relatively aggressively to do some move blocking. And if the spawn come in there, I'll 5 Phainopane 1 unit, that'll survive. The other one will probably die. I'll kill his spawn, and then I'll rescreen and kind of slow down the pace of this army. Now, Arthur was under a lot of pressure based on the pairings to try and get a bigger win here, from my sense of how they had been talking. And so he decided it was better to put a lot of pressure on my half of the board and try and advance and charge and move up some of these World Eater Berserker units. And what ended up happening is he charged into the Infiltrators. They battle shocked both his 20-mans that charged, which meant he couldn't Blood Surge. And then I unloaded the god power of Admech and screened him with Skystalkers. And from that point on, he was never really able to get past midboard. And my half was safe. And it was really, can he get out and limit my score from being higher than a 14 or 15? Yeah. And so that was a tough one.
It's a brutal turn of events. If he passes both of those,
if he passes
just
both
a different
of them,
game, right?
It's a completely different game. It is going to be tough. It's going to be very, very tough. I have tricks, but I'm definitely not getting a 14. Yeah. So I did get very lucky there, but Infiltrators, man, they were critical throughout.
Yeah.
Michael Mann went into the Tyranids. This was, I believe, triple Norn.
This was, I think, triple Norn, triple T-Fex. This is a very monster-heavy subterranean assault build.
And we were like, all right, Michael, you've got Gaz, and you've got this big boy, you got the crits and lethals, and get in there, baby. And he ended up putting a lot of OC. He also has the OC'd out OC Norns.
Yes, indeed,
so we felt confident that Michael could go in there and get a good score. Brian played into Chaos Knights once more and put the beating on them with the conversion and the Hearthguard unit. He said the Hearthguard unit split fire and just like eviscerated multiple war dogs.
Every vehicle it gets to shoot, right?
The other thing is Chaos Knights with their Gatling cannons actually struggle massively into Votann because land forts can just sit in the open all game. And
yeah, T12. Lethal hits is cool, but
it's not enough.
It's not reliable at all.
And they have void armor.
Yeah, it's not good. As soon as they spend ignore cover, you spend void armor. It's like,
yep,
nice.
Then Mr. Nick went into their Grey Knight player here and ended up coming with a small loss against Grey Knights. Now, it was Search and Destroy, which was both beneficial and a downside. But, no, it wasn't Search and Destroy. I think I'm making that up. No, it might have been.
I feel like this was I thought it was Scorched Earth Crucible, honestly.
Yeah, it was Scorched Crucible, 100%.
I did take a second to think, like, what happened to my game?
No,
I burned objectives.
It was Scorched Crucible. So, comes out with a small loss here. Grey Knights can be a tricky army to play against, and I think we've been seeing that across the meta. Grey Knight win rate is very, very high. I know a lot of people are down on the Codex, but Warpaint is a ludicrously strong detachment, and Banishers is also seeing a good amount of play.
You know, I also just think that Grey Knights was the best army kept underwater by the couple of the top dogs, where it probably just didn't have a great Knight matchup.
Unless you spammed the 3 Grandmaster Dread Knights.
Yeah. But like now.
Yeah. Now they love control armies.
Yeah. They feast on that.
Yep. And then Mr. Benjuric rounds it out with his win against Drukari. Once again, we were able to get a beneficial table for the Chaos Knights and kind of be able to shoot those Drukari to death. Moving on, round 4, we're playing Hidden Supplies, and this is where we play into Team Australia. We do end up losing this round. We were 3 points off from a draw, I believe.
Yep, 3 points off from a draw. So very tight round. Australia, spoiler alert, is going to go on to win the event. Very well earned on their part.
And so this is a team mostly of very good players from the Sydney and Brisbane area. They were really lovely people, and it was amazing that they came over. They had came over, I believe they landed around Monday, they said, so that they had a couple of extra days to kind of get past the jet lag.
Probably wise, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So we were playing them at Hidden Supplies, and a lot of their lists are skewed towards control, towards a lot of high OC units. They had a double Necron Warrior Brick list. They had Bully Boys Orcs. They had a Tyrannid list that had 120 gaunts or something like that.
120. Plus Hormagaunts.
Plus Hormagaunts. And they also had a big Berserker Horde type of list. They had a Genestealer Cult control army. So they had a lot of really good control armies, whereas we took a
mixed bag.
A mixed bag of different styles. So we knew this was going to be the hardest round to play them on, but we're going to have to do our best. So in terms of the pairings, Michael ended up going down first because we figured if we can draw out a WTC board and make some of our other matchups a little bit easier down the line, that could potentially be favorable. We decided to end up picking Eric as the option, and he ended up going down 18-2 here in a pretty sizable loss. Now, the Tyrannids have the screens for days, and Michael didn't have really the shooting to interact with the second layer. We were hoping, because the objectives are in the middle, he would at least be able to stage up on some of them and kind of keep it a bit closer. Didn't end up working here. And then the big one that we didn't expect to happen is the Orcs versus World Eaters, which ended up being a significantly more swingy matchup. Orcs went first, staged, and used their Gretchen units to block Jack from really being able to attack the key units. And then he was playing on a dense WTC board because this was their first defender, and he couldn't get the Forge Fiends to really activate effectively into the screening units to be able to charge the unit behind. And then the Bully Boys just turned 2, popped the wah, and went straight at his army. And resulted in this 20-0.
And melee games can be really swingy. If one side starts to win, it can snowball really hard. And I think in this case, the Australian strategy of defending melee early and taking the heaviest tables actually played to their advantage, because those Forge Fiends, when it's a very closed WTC table, they're not really helping. And so it's 2,000 points of melee army versus 1,700 points of melee army. And that can make the difference there. And once one side has an advantage,
it doesn't stop. Once all the action is on your half of the board on Hidden Supplies, you aren't scoring.
Then the primary is 50-0.
Yep. Then we had Mr. Mike Muzeni's Death Guard going into their Drukari player, Brian. He ended up coming out with a big win here, which really helped us a lot in the round. Mike did an excellent job here. And then I ended up playing against Josh's Necrons. So we were having the old Mechanicus battle here versus their favorite Xenos, the Necrons. And I ended up going first. Definitely wanted to go second against the Necrons and have that bottom of turn advantage. But going first, I literally pushed up my army onto all the objectives. I sat calling +1 OC the entire game and was just like, we had to count each individual model. He's like, I have 34 OC on this objective with my Necron Warriors and my Crypto Thralls, and I'm like, I have 42 with my 10 Rangers and my 3 tanks and 5 Infiltrators and some birds. We're just literally blocking all the objectives, and then I used my Iron Striders and my tanks to block the Scorpex so that they would kill the stuff because I can't actually kill the 20-man warrior units with the army that I brought. So all I had to do is stop them from getting on objectives. So I had him trade out his Scorpex into my tanks, and then the late game was, can I keep blocking him enough? And eventually got onto those objectives. But really, really interesting game, and Josh was a really fun opponent to play against. Then we had Jordan's Sisters into Ben's Chaos Knights. This one ended up being a 10-10 draw, kind of trading, keep the game close. No person could really push into the other to try and open up a big advantage. Then we had another game flip significantly against us. That is the World Eaters versus the Leagues of Votan. And this partially comes down to, like, the Hearthguard unit with Sus 2 and everything will just delete a 20-man Berserk. It doesn't matter about Bullet Surge, you're just dead. Unfortunately, Brian didn't have the reps into this specific archetype, and he made a couple positioning mistakes that opened up some big moves from the World Eaters on him, and that ended up swinging. And of course, because it's hidden supplies, you make mistakes and you get pushed back too far, you just can't score primary.
That's the really big things with all these control armies. You have a lot less margins than normal, and so it's a lot harder to mitigate a loss.
Yeah, absolutely. Then your game.
I'm playing my Emperor's Children into Eldari. I do end up going first here. Not what I wanted, because I would prefer to play the more stable game, but it did let me stage up, get ready, and just play my normal Eldar game plan of I'm going to, present a lot of threats and threaten to score a lot of points to draw out multiple units a turn. And so turn 1, I actually sacked a Rhino full of Noise Marines because my opponent picked a tempting target, and then I got to shoot a unit. So I'm like, all right, screw it. I'll take 5 points in unit. I'm going to lose 2, but I positioned my Rhino in such a way that for him to kill it, he has to step a couple things out, and now 2 more units are out. And I killed a move blocking squad of Rangers turn 1. So by the end of my turn 2, I had killed like 5 screening units, and that means that on bottom of 2, I get to Rapid Ingress, and there are 5 less screening units. And that's all that I'm aiming for here, because I'm just trying to apply a lot of pressure so that I can clear all the screens in a couple turns and then jump the fence, go over the gap. And about that time, I was looking at ingressing my Demon Prince. I found out that we were getting a 0 on one of the tables. So I was like, all right, well,
let's go.
I know that this 16 that I'm aiming for right now is no longer acceptable. So I sent the house, and I don't know if I was always going to get a 20 off of that, but I got to tell you, there is something magical about Demon Princes getting shot by Fire Dragons. They don't take as much damage as they should. You roll a couple 4s, you CP roll 1 here, you got to feel no pain there, you flip a dice to a 6 here. All of a sudden, Fuegan Fire Dragon just shoot a Demon Prince, and he's alive. then he starts killing again.
Then he starts killing. He's nasty.
I hit a couple nice saves at the back end of this one to really lock it in, but with hidden supplies, there was a point where I said, screw it, we're going over the fence, and I pushed my entire army past the objectives. And that means that primary in this game was 45-5.
Yes.
And turns out, when I'm the only person with an army alive, I'm also going to score my secondaries. So we got there.
And then our final round was the Genestealer Cult player Michael versus Nick's Aldari. And this is one where it's definitely not a matchup we won. I believe this was the refused matchup.
Yeah,
right?
It was.
This was the last one.
They were very happy when we flipped it.
The Australians were cheering because they were like, "Oh, we're gonna get a big win here."
Nick's a wiggler,
and he ended up getting a 10-10 draw, which was very, very huge in keeping the round as close as possible. So we go down by a handful of points. So the draw margin is 75. We needed them to be at 85 and us to be at 75 to get the draw here. So just barely miss out. We had several games swing quite poorly against us. But the Australians played really, really amazing. You could tell the prep work was done.
Oh, they certainly earned it.
So,
the big lesson for me, just looking at the scores afterwards, is funny enough, if you just look at this as like it was singles, each team won 3 games, lost 3 games, had 2 ties. The record between the games was the same. Now, obviously, Australia won this, and they earned it. But the difference is, and especially on hidden supplies, how good you are at mitigating your losses, because the difference is that the Australian team was able to get, I think, 10 points out of their 3 losses? And our team was able to get 2.
Yes, because we had 2-0, 1-2.
And that is the difference right there.
Definitely. Well, congratulations, Australia, and hopefully we'll see you guys next year at the same event.
Hopefully we'll get to see them again. I would love to.
100%. So moving on, we're still in this because if Australia draws rounds or loses a round, we can still win the event. So next round, we go into the other Florida team, also a top team, the Florida Alliance.
Yeah.
And
a lot of good players in Florida, I'm hearing.
A lot of really good players in Florida. So I go into their World Eater player, Morgan. This is my second game into World Eaters. This is into Jack's style list rather than the Berserker spam. And we're playing out a nice, even trade game. I'm looking at getting like a 15-5 here. And unfortunately for Morgan, he ends up... I bought him a turn, by the way, so that makes it a lot easier. And then he ends up charging 3 Exalted 8-bound into a bird squad that is screening and contested his objective. And he swings. He hands me 11 saves. I fail 3 of them. I make the Feel No Pains. I lose 1 bird. And what happens, though, is I'm able to pile in and consolidate the unit in such a way where I then fall back the unit to surround his Karn Rhino and the Glaive Slaughterbound with his Exalted unit. And so his last 2 combat units on that flank are completely surrounded by birds. So I just shove my entire army up and go for the 20-0 and end up achieving it.
I don't like it.
Yeah, it was pretty nasty. Then we had Michael Mann's Orcs into the Blood Angels here. Not the easiest matchup. A lot of 2-up saves, some armor contempt. But Michael does have volume and had a good amount of trade resources.
Why indeed, Mr. Bond.
And he was able to just kind of get a narrow win here with that 12-8.
I think the fight tricks of Warhorde are what Michael said got him over the line. Things like, I know there was a notable moment where he charged into the normally unchargeable fights first units that Blood Angels present, and Michael just charged him anyways. Then Steve swung first, and Michael spent 2 CP to fight on death. And that's it. And funny thing about fight on death is you don't get to armor contempt against that.
You do not.
And so, yeah, that Blade Guard unit or the Sengard unit fights first, I think he had both, actually. It really takes a chunk out of the orcs. But then you fight on death and you kill that one. And I think Michael charged both of the fights first units at the same time and said, yeah, you fight first on whichever one of those you want. That one I'm going to fight on death on, and the other one I'm going to hit first because we still alternate.
Yep.
2 fights first don't both fight before my chargers. And so Michael was able to crack through the fights first and eventually get an objective advantage.
Then we had Ben's Chaos Knights go into Death Guard here in the 10-10 draw, relatively close. And then Mr. Mark Perry's Thousand Sons, which had Magnus and a bunch of Demon Princes, went into Jack's World Eaters, and Jack was able to pull out a big win here with the 20-0. Following that up, we had John's Emperor's Children against Eldar. You got another Eldar matchup.
I did drop a diff point, unfortunately. This one was really fun, but Bryce took a very interesting strategy of taking Fixed, Assassinate, and Engage. And he also got to pick the table on this one, which made this much harder than the last game. The last game was kind of just like what's left at the end. This one was Eldar table choice. Whole different game because... we felt pretty good about the pairings, and I very early on got the update. Several of our games are going well. And so I was really not trying to take risks on this one.
Yep.
And so instead with Bryce staging very aggressively, Bryce was very clearly trying to find the opening to come table me. He had 20 Fire Dragons and Wave Serpents. He was ready to send them at me the second I gave him an opportunity. And so I really thought that it was a better idea for me to play for the end of the game here. And so took a nice controlled pace the game, bled out the Eldar resources. I actually kept a lot of my army further back than normal. I just kept enough forward that I could threaten to contest the middle objectives every time. So I kept his primary low, played for the bottom, and denied him character kills. Because with Fixed Assassinate, he got 1 character this game. And I lost some points by staying back, but boy, did I save some as well.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't really see the sneaky Fixed.
No, the sneaky Fixed.
But
Mark very special.
Because Bryce defended and got his table choice, he had to pick between John or I. Because we put both of us down, and he was like, well, not the Admech. It has to be that.
Yeah, no surprise there. The Emperor's Children is better than the Admech.
Yeah. And then we have Dustin Hammond's Imperial Knights. He was playing New Codex Knights with a Armiger spam build with a Warden. And trying to get all those buffs on the different armigers. He played into Brian's Votan and ended up getting a 15-5. We were definitely expecting this to be the other direction, but Dustin is Nick's coaching client and a really, really excellent Knight player. He only plays Knights. So he ended up swinging the win. What I saw is when I walked over to the table, Brian had lost his screens, and it looked like Dustin had reserved some amount of his armigers and was able to either rapid or bring them in behind him. And that ended up opening up a game.
Well, I think there's also a stratagem in that detachment, Noble Spearhead, to pick up armigers, put them in reserves,
then
and
that
bring
was
back
what
down.
he was doing.
So I think eventually the screens ran out, and so one armiger a turn is just appearing in the backfield, and pressure continues.
It's taking objectives. Yeah, it's nasty. Then Tucker Ricky was playing an AdMech list similar to mine, and then he was the one where I think John and I were the only 2 people on the Matrix who were like, yeah, I'll play into that.
Yeah, everyone else had no interest.
So we were like, all right, whoever's going to play him, just try and keep the game as close as possible. And it ended up being Mr. Muzeni here, and he got 5 out of the total points, which is a small, a decent loss, but still getting 5 points.
Holding the line, right?
Holding the line, getting some points on the board.
We saw against Australia what the difference is between 5s and 0s.
5s and 0s.
5s do not lose you the round.
Nope.
0s hurt.
And then finally, we had Orcs versus Aldari. This was one of their early kind of choices, and we were able to have Nick take him down with 13-7. So we end up winning this round, proving we are the dominant Florida team.
I would hope. But it's also wonderful to see the level of competition. Florida is really high. As someone who grew up here,
and
these
are all locals to the Jacksonville
these are people we knew.
area.
These are all people we knew, and no one here was like
he's in the Tallahassee / Georgia area.
Yeah, but these are all players that we know and have experience with, and the competition level in Orlando and the area and just Florida in general is fierce right now, which is really fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the final round. So it's all coming down to this here. So if Australia loses, we have the potential to potentially swing up. Papal Supremacy has 1 draw. Yep. So if they get a draw, they potentially could get second or third. And then if we win here, we're at least in contention for the top 3 places.
Yep.
So we end up playing Large Richard Energy, and the pairing that I got was they defended guard first. He took layout 6, and we had put me and somebody else down, Aldari, and he was like, Admech. And so I ended up knowing that I definitely had a favorable matchup, and I just had couple swings go towards my favor and ended up locking that 15-5 in. Stephen was a really lovely opponent, and we had a lot of fun kind of chatting back and forth, and he's also an Admech player, excited to play it. Jack went into another World Eaters Mirror matchup. He just can't stop.
He loves it, dude.
He just can't stop.
He loves the World Eaters Mirror.
Got a huge 20-0. I think that was against Berserker Horde style World Eaters.
I think Chaos Knights probably put in some good work.
Oh, yeah, they did. Chaos Knights here got a 20-0 into their Necron player, putting a lot of pressure on the Necrons and taking them off of objectives. Michael went into Jack Murphy and his Chaos Space Marines, which was Renegade Raiders. It had a Noise Marine squad, and it had 3 units of ACDC. So we were like, Horde versus Horde, this should be pretty good. Yeah. Unfortunately, Jack's couple Predators and Noise Marines absolutely tabled Michael when he committed his army.
Michael's very surprised, impressed by the quantity of shooting coming out of that CSM list. Just with sustained lethals just kind of on demand, like a little bit of shooting can add up really fast with CSM.
No, this is not my nemesis team. This is my supporter team. These guys fuel my energy.
Absolutely.
This is the largest Richard energy you could have. And then we've got Mike Muzeni here. His Death Guard went into the Space Wolves, and that was the 10 Terminator variant.
Yep, with a couple like Rep X's and a Lancer as well.
A lot of shooting, and Mike was able to take a big 19-win score there in that game. You ended up playing against their Death Guard player, who really didn't want that pairing. Based on
I did. I think that their Death Guard player had actually played against an Emperor's Children player earlier in the tournament, and so was not thrilled about the matchup. This is certainly one that I normally believe to be quite favorable for the EC. Unfortunately for me, Liam did have bottom of turn, and I maybe round 6, hearing that everything is fine, might have made a couple mistakes on top of 5.
Hilariously.
I swung some units in the wrong order when he didn't have an interrupt up. I was like, oh, you can't interrupt? I'll swing in the fun order. And then I exploded a drone that killed both of my winged demon princes.
He swung his Flawless Blades, okay? He was like, Flawless Blades are going to kill something in this game. He swung them at him.
My last activation of the tournament, my Flawless Blades were finally going to kill a unit all by themselves. And they did it. I had 7 packed points up. I had everything I could need. And I finally killed a unit. The last activation of the tournament. This is the first top to bottom kill my Flawless Blades got. And they killed this drone. It exploded and killed both of my princes, who are currently in the process of charging other things and hadn't swung yet. And so I was like, oh, let me just kill these 5 Poxwalkers. I have no prisoners. I have Storm Hostile Objective. I'm on your home objective on Linchpin. Definitely just took
Flawless Blade showed you, John.
My Flawless, well, of course it explodes, right? When you make a very minor mistake, the dice perk up and be like, ooh, an opportunity to do something funny, and they just take it. Those Flawless Blades were worth -3 diff points across this weekend. -3. That's how I rate them. I think if I take 1875, I think I get 3 more diff points this tournament.
All right, and then next up, we have Mr. Nick Nanavati with his Aldari into Chaos Demons. He goes down. He's only the second most famous player to lose to Demons this weekend.
Oh, no.
But it was a tough one. Best army in the game ranked versus the second worst army in the game ranked by us.
We certainly did.
However, what ended up happening was Nick was keeping the game close, was in for the win, and then the Demon player was like, all right, I need to push.
Yeah.
Some of the other scores were coming in. And he's like, all right, here come the demons. He sends out all his demons, and then he shoots with his demons. John, they have shooting attacks.
Yeah, a little bit.
And they just pick up a bunch of units from Nick, and Nick just swings down on his damage. Is like, oh, God, this all of a sudden is real bad.
Yeah. I think that's the real problem with demons is the volatility.
Yep.
And this is a problem for everyone. This is a problem for Nick and Justin in equal measures. Because I got to tell you that I have seen worlds where that Fire Dragon unit steps out, splits fire, lifts Be'lakor and Fate Weaver at the same time. That can happen.
Mm-hmm.
But we've also personally seen the world where that Fuegan Brick steps out and does 2 damage to a Great Unclean One.
That's not good.
That's not what you want.
No.
That's not what you want.
And
That's
then,
the world we were living in this time.
That was the universe. So narrow loss there from Nick, but we do have some big wins on the board. And then Brian ended up getting 20-0'd by Zach Point. Really, really good Aldari player. He's won many super majors.
Yep. He's won Nova and Adepticon.
Yes, he has, and he's an expert with Aldari. And unfortunately, Brian couldn't replicate what he did earlier in the tournament, getting that draw against Aldari. Definitely a big loss there. But we ended up winning the round 100-60. And that ends up with the placings here, which is going to put Team Australia ends up drawing in the very final round, just missing out on a win by 1 point. They missed that 86 margin, so they drew Papal Supremacy. Really an excellent performance from Papal Supremacy, frankly.
Yeah.
If you don't know some of the players on there, they have really, really excellent players, so check out their roster.
I really wish we'd gotten to play against Papal Supremacy. That was
I was
the
hoping
team.
so too, yeah.
Them and Monstars. Yep. A couple good teams there,
but
there's
so many good teams that you can't play them all.
I know, yeah, all right. You know, there's only 4 rounds of Swiss, and we played 4 great teams, but there was more.
So because they ended up drawing the final round, Papal Supremacy had 2 draws, and we had higher battle points total, so we ended up swinging into second here under Team Australia, and then Papal Supremacy finishing third. So congratulations to everybody who went to Challengers Cup. Hope everybody had a great time. I know we met a lot of people there. A lot of people came up and were like, hey, loving the content, loving all the things that you're doing. So congratulations once again to Team Australia. Hope everybody made it back safely and is recovering from that jet lag. It was great seeing you guys, and hopefully we'll see you all next year once more at Challengers Cup.
Indeed.
All right, that rounds us out for our recap of the event. We have a whole bunch of super chats here, and let's start going through them. If you do have questions for us, feel free to super chat, and we will answer them.
Absolutely.
Go back over to this
Started at the top.
All right. Thank you, everybody who has joined as a member. Really appreciate your support. If you do join as a YouTube member here, make sure that you sync your Discord to your YouTube account so you get access to our Discord community, and make sure you get your roles in the Discord so you can access your favorite faction channels. Now, we have Angelos. We have Angelos here with a 15 Australian super chat. I won't be there at the end because it's late in Australia land, but have a great stream. Would love to hear later if having half GW, half WTC maps impacted list design, and how much love Alex. Oh, it's Alex. It's Alex. It's our lovely Alex. Yes. I was like, who is? Okay, yes. I know exactly who that is. Thank you so much, Alex. So in terms of list design, definitely we leaned relatively heavy on melee armies. Honestly, for us, we only had a couple shooting armies, and there weren't that many light boards.
Yeah, I think that there weren't that many light boards because even the light WTC ones they choose weren't that light, but a couple of the GW ones are not heavy.
Yeah,
I think the main impact it has on list design is that I do feel like there was denser melee than we were used to, because normally when we're playing either all GW or all WTC, we try not to have too many armies that are what we call like a pairings princess. Yep. It has to be in this role. And I actually think that this format gave you room to maybe lean into that more than we did, where you can take those 1 or 2 people and say, don't worry, you are playing only on WTC. And we didn't take any one person say, you will always have table choice. And so I think that is actually a little bit of a difference in the format that we didn't explore fully.
It was funny because some of the rounds, the WTC boards were just left entirely till the end, and it was the people who didn't really get to pick tables just were on WTC, and then other times they were taken out really quickly by the melee. So it depended on team strategy, but certainly it was impactful. Ethan Williams with a $5 super chat. Taking Brandfast to the Michigan GT this weekend. Wish me luck. I'll channel my inner Siegler. I'm wishing you a ton of luck, and hopefully you crush the competition for the Ancestors.
Indeed. Good luck, Ethan.
Jonathan Haynes, 2 Canadian super chat. Good morning, John and Siegs. Good morning to you, Jonathan. Thanks so much for always watching our content. Jonathan watches every single video, and I'd be disappointed if he ever missed a single one.
Absolutely. But he wouldn't. But he wouldn't. And
It's
he never
impossible.
has.
Ryan G, $10 super chat. What does John think of NIDS having the 4th highest representation at LVO? I think it's going to be like the beach scene in Saving Private Ryan for the faction, but worse, am I missing something?
I do think Tyranids are better than that.
And there's some players up there. Sam Pope did amazing with Tyranids.
Yeah.
So did Ryan Verbeek. He was one of the top scorers.
So did Eric Lathuris.
And Eric Lathuris.
Several good. I think there were three undefeated. I don't remember if Sam Pope went undefeated.
So Ryan Verbeek finished tied for second highest scorer.
Yep.
He was on Midwest Monsters. Really great player.
Eric Lathuris is going to be up here somewhere. There we go. 16.
Eric Lathuris was up here, and then maybe Sam had a draw.
I think Sam had a one like loss or draw. It might be faster just to search Sam Pope.
Yeah.
I think it's actually Samuel. There it is.
There he is.
So he had a draw.
Also undefeated.
But undefeated.
Yep. So 3 top-level Tyranid players actually did really, really well here. Not surprisingly.
While I do genuinely believe that Tyranids are skiing uphill at the moment, I do not think that they are just lambs to the slaughter in this one. Instead, I would say that I would bet that the win rate for Tyranids continues to be about what it is, which is not great. But I would not at all be surprised if there was 1 or 2 experienced Tyranid players who can navigate their way through this. An event like LVO, the very stark reality of it is who you play against matters so much. My biggest problem with Tyranids is that they always just have some matchups that are awful. And if you don't hit them, your other matchups are great. But you might. And in Teams format, I think that they're a little bit better because of that fact that you can exploit I'm just not going to play against this problem. Because if you try to build the Tyranid list that is good into Eldar, and that is good into Knights, and that is good into Death Guard, and that is good into AdMech, you will fall flat in one of those places. And in singles, BCP will reward you with that as round 1.
Yeah. Honestly, how I feel about Tyranids is that they are in the same position AdMech was before this update, where they have strong control tools. Yep. They can play a good game of 40k and outplay people with it. The damage inconsistency is the limiting factor. Yeah. And I think they fixed that for AdMech. I think they should fix that for Tyranids.
Swarmlord gives Oath a moment?
I would find... Do you agree with that, John? Like, I think they need a similar level of, like, pick some of the key units that aren't filling the role that they need to, tune them up, and then, find a character somewhere, the Swarmlord, and make him really synergistic with the army.
Yep, they needed something like that.
I think those two are, like, literally the closest comparison.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, 2 early codexes, right?
That is true. Then we have a Ricky Chow, member for 12 months of the bronze tier. Thank you so much, Ricky. Love you guys. AdMech buffs, LVO coming up. Are these stars aligned for Siege to just roll up last minute and win it all again? I hope so. I would love to. My goal is to make top 8 again. That's my honest goal.
Yeah, you're gonna sneak to LVO again?
Oh, to LVO? I thought this was Worlds.
No, LVO.
No, I'm not going to LVO. Worlds, though. Worlds is the new LVO.
That is true. Our next super chat is from Taken20. Thank you, Taken20. Hey, y'all. Love the content. I'm getting practice on Recon Guard, and I'm curious on your opinion on it in teams, especially whether you consider its role to be a grenade jumper or a differential pusher. I think that Recon Guard is very much going to be a matchup to matchup. And if you get a lot of experience with the army, I think this is an army that really rewards experience, because my impression of Recon Guard is that it is a very strong army that has a very real ability to put up big diff points when it does, but it's not the most flexible army in the world. It runs on a set path, and what's actually really important is how well the pilot executes it. You can see that Wesley St. Hines, who ran Recon Guard this past week in that Challengers Cup, scored 4 scores of 2020-2018.
Yep.
And so great numbers there.
Huge.
When you get the win, you can push it up. If your opponent can't handle the OC problem, game over. But that ability to take the hard matchups and get 10s on it rather than just losing requires a lot of reps. Because as long as you can push the army forward and it operates on its game plan, you're good. But I think that once Recon Guard gets off of its game plan, it does not get back on track. Recon Guard, it draws the line, and once the line is broken, the line is broken. So there's a lot of maintenance. It's a very rep-intensive army, would be my guess on it. I think the reason why Wesley does so well with it is because Wesley has been playing a very similar playstyle for over 12 months at this point, I think.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's really required to get the most out of this army.
I would definitely agree
I
with
would
that.
not casually play it.
No, you don't just pick.
That's why I don't casually play it. I'm like, I could play a couple games of this, but I'm not going to play 50 games of this.
Yeah.
And so I'm not. Nope.
And we have a Red Room here with a €5 super chat. Thank you so much. Sieg's talking about Battle Shocks. That game against Custodes at Crucible was painful to watch. Do you know why your opponent picked fixed against you? So what he's referring to is a Custodes bike unit with the captain charged into my infiltrators, Battle Shocked themselves. Like 5 of Pain didn't die, kept him positioned on terrain. Then now he can't use the reactive move strat and can't CP reroll any of the invulns. So I just killed the whole bike unit. Why did he take fixed against me? The reason that he did is because he figured I'm playing Admech. I'm not going to win a control game. So I'm going to just try and kill him. I'm going to find a way where I threat overload him with all the Custodes, and that fits better with a fixed game plan than the other one.
Yeah.
He just didn't want to play a long trade game against me with tactical.
I don't blame him.
So to his credit, he went in like my chance to win. He was thinking about how can I actually win this game, not how can I keep this game close.
In singles event, that is a very good mentality to have.
Yeah, 100%. So I have to honestly give him credit because he was like, all right, this is my win path. I'm going to go for it. And I might lose. I'm going to lose a control game. So might as well try this one. All right. Well, that looks to be all of the different super chats here. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. Hope you enjoyed this video and this breakdown of the Challengers Cup event. It was an amazing team event. If you were looking for team events, it's going to happen sometime around that September area again next year, so you can check that out. It's an 8-man team event, so try and find 7 other friends, and you have a whole year to kind of build up a team or join a team and find your way there. But absolutely amazing event. We loved it, and we'll definitely be back next year.
Really looking forward to it.
Yeah, 100%. Check it out. Thank you so much to everybody that we met there, and had a great time making tons of new friends as well in the games that I played. I know the games you played, you had some really great opponents as well. And if you have any questions for us, or if you were at Challengers Cup, you liked things about it, you didn't like things about it, you want to share the world why team events are awesome, leave a comment below letting us know what you think about team events and 40K in general. We'd love to hear from you. Otherwise, thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. If you want more content from us, do check out The Worm at theworm.vhx.tv. There's a 3-day free trial, and on top of that, you get access to our international Discord community, where there are faction experts for every different army in the game in there. In addition, right now, this morning, we released Aldari versus Raven Guard Space Marines as our battle report, our top table competitive battle report. So what better time now than see 2 top armies fighting each other for glory and bragging rights.
Always bragging
Who's the
rights.
best? Who's the best? So check that out, as well as tons of other content in our war room. And if you are joining us here and you like our YouTube content, you like these live streams, give us a like, subscribe to the channel, and tell your friends about us. All of that massively helps. So thank you so much, everybody, and we will see you all next time for more content. So long for now.
Bye-bye.